All right, so the four practice problems, or three on the front here and the two on the back, are going to help prepare us for the keystone types of questions we will see possibly at the end of the year. We'll see. So, number one, it tells us that there is this inequality that represents the nitrogen gas at a certain temperature. The inequality is T is greater than or equal to negative 196. Analyzing that inequality, we want to see if A, nitrogen is a gas only if the temperature is below negative 196. Nitrogen is a gas only if it is above negative 196. It is a gas only if the temperature is at or below negative 196. Or D, it is a gas only if the temperature is at or above negative 196. Which one is the answer? A, B, C, or D?
D.
Yes. So is at or above is what greater than or equal to means. So the first answer would be D. Number two, a baseball team has $1,000 to spend on supplies. They spent $185 on a new bat. New baseballs cost $4 each. Here's the inequality that represents the number of baseballs the team can purchase. So the inequality is 185 plus 4B is less than or equal to 1,000. It says which statement is true? Before I figure out which statement is true, I think it's helpful to actually solve the inequality. So the inequality 185 plus 4B is less than or equal to 1,000. Step one, I would subtract 185 from both sides. I got 4B is less than or equal to 815. Then I would divide by 4, and I'm going to get a decimal. B is less than or equal to 203.75, which kind of doesn't make sense. This is the number of baseballs they can sell are less than or equal to 203.75. So, looking at the four answers we have to choose from, it says A, the team can purchase 204 new baseballs. Is that true? No, because it's anything less than 203.75, so it's not A. Even though we normally would round up in this case, since it says less than or equal to, we'd actually have to round down. The most amount that they could purchase is 203. Is it B, the minimum number of baseballs that can be purchased is 185? No. The minimum that they can purchase is 0, right? The maximum is 185? No, we already just said the maximum is 203. So the team can purchase 185 new baseballs if they want, but this is not the maximum or the minimum. The only one that makes sense is D. Number 3 says a ticket to a baseball game costs $20. Each soda sold at the game costs $5. Sean may spend no more than $50. He buys one ticket, and they tell us that sodas is representing X. Here's the inequality. 5X plus 20 is less than or equal to 50. You solve it, and you get X is less than or equal to 6. So what does that mean? Does it mean Sean buys 6 or few sodas? Sean buys 6 or few tickets? Sean buys one ticket and 5 sodas? Or Sean has less than or equal to $6? Okay? Yes, this one would be A. Perfect. Flip us over to the other side. All right, it says graph the solution set to the inequality on the number line above. So the inequality says 4x plus 3 is less than 7x minus 9. You have two options. I would prefer to move the 4x so that I would just have a positive number of x's, so I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. When I do that, those cancel out. I'm left with 3 is less than 7x minus 4x is 3x, and then the minus 9. Solving this now, I would get rid of the minus 9 by adding 9 to both sides. And 3 plus 9 is 12. So I get 12 is less than 3x since these cancel out. Last thing I would do is divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So we get 4 is less than x. I do not prefer to graph it this way. I prefer to have the x first and the 4 second. When you do that, you have to flip the sign. The answer is anything greater than 4. So on my number line is an open circle, but the answers are not to the left, they are to the right. And then last but not least, The final question on this practice set says the solution of the inequality is graphed below. Which one is the problem, basically? So I see a closed circle, and I see the answers are going to the right. What inequality would be a closed circle at -3 answers to the right? Huh? Well, I'm not really worried about the answers yet. I'm just saying, what would this inequality be? X is what?
X is greater than 2. Wait. X is greater than, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I don't, -3.
And it's greater than, or equal to, because of the closed circle. So this symbol, this inequality says X is greater than or equal to -3. Looking at these 4 answers, 2 of these answers I can cross off automatically because they have the wrong symbols. Since A and C don't have that greater than or equal to symbol, it can't be those. So it's either B or D. If I was to solve these, I could see that one of them will end up being X is less than or equal to -3, the other one will equal X is greater than or equal to -3. The correct answer is D. All right, so flip this over to the next page. Let's do some notes. So there are special situations when inequalities have no solutions or infinite solutions. So, with inequalities with special solutions, just like equations, inequalities can have no solution or can have infinite solutions. The textbook calls it all real numbers, I believe, and that just means that every single number can be a solution. So in case 1, it says when solving an inequality, you obtain an equivalent inequality that is false. The inequality then has no solution. For example, if I go to solve the inequality 8b minus 3 is greater than 4 times 2b plus 3, the first thing I would do is distribute 4 times everything over here. I would get 8b minus 3 is greater than 8b plus 12. And then I would go ahead and solve this. Everyone should be writing down with us. Everyone should be writing. When I go to solve this, I would move the 8b's by subtracting them. Minus 8b here, minus 8b here. When I go to do that, the 8b's are going to cancel in both places. And that's because you have the same number on both sides. So when you cancel them, you're left with, on the left-hand side, a -3, a greater than symbol, and then 12. When all of the variables cancel out, something weird is going to happen. You are either going to get no solution as your answer or infinite solutions as your answer. To determine which one it is, you would then decide, is -3 greater than 12? Is that true or false? False. -3 is not greater than 12. Because it's false, that means that this inequality has no solution. Now, I'm not sure why you're not paying attention and not following along with notes. This inequality has no solution because when you go to solve it, you're left with a false statement. False statements means that no matter what number you put in for that variable in there, which in this case is b, you will not have a solution at all. It will never work. A no solution graph looks like this. It's kind of silly. It's just a number line with nothing on it. I'm not going to make you graph no solutions because it's just a number line with nothing on it. There's no point. No number in this universe will ever work for this type of problem, so there's no point in just making a number line with nothing on it. The opposite of no solution is called either infinite solutions or all real numbers as solutions. So if we look at the next case, it says when solving an inequality, if you obtain an equivalent inequality that is true, the solutions of the inequality are all real numbers. So if I try and solve this problem, the first thing I would do is distribute To move all the variables to one side, I could subtract 10w from both sides, and I would see that they're going to cancel out on both sides because you have equal numbers of variables on both sides. No, I'm so confused why you're not following along. You're not writing anything down. You're going to go back through and you're not going to have any notes that go along with this. We're left with -2 is less than or equal to 7. Is -2 less than or equal to 7? Is that true or false?
True.
Yes, this is true. Because this is true, that means that the answer to this inequality is either, you can call it all real numbers, or you can call it infinite solutions. A number line for infinite solutions or all real numbers is also equally as silly because it's a number line with every single number colored in going both ways. So it's like a number line with bolded everywhere, which is silly to draw. You do not have to graph all real numbers, just like you don't have to graph no solution. So now we've learned that inequalities can have one endpoint answer, they can have no solution, or they can have infinite solutions. On the other page here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 practice problems. The first practice problem, don't be confused, you will have an actual answer for the first one. But then moving on, some of them you will not have actual answers. You will either get no solution or infinite solutions. So what I want you guys to do now is please take some time, complete 1, 2, 3, or 4, 3 and 4, and we'll go over them before we leave class today.